we want to go through how you can spot nice guy traits, like how you might be showing up as a nice guy in your business, in your relationships, perhaps even with your buddies, and then start to look at how you can fix that by spotting the symptoms and actually looking at what you can do to remedy nice guy behaviors that are perhaps not getting you what you want in your life. They're perhaps keeping you mediocre. They're perhaps keeping you stuck. They're perhaps keeping you where you are not performing in your career or in your relationships.
It's not spoken about because it's not normally seen. Because the guys that are nice guys, I'm a recovering nice guy, right? You think it's the things you need to do. You think it like, because it's like, well, I'm doing these things because that's the way I've been brought up. That's what's been ingrained in me since I was a child. That's what I think I need to do to get ahead in life, to please my woman, to please my team members, to be a good friend. So I'm doing all these traits that are actually affecting me in a negative way. I just don't fucking realize it.
Yeah, I think especially like a lot of guys get brought up by single mothers. You know, like we've done episodes on absent father. So you've got men who are brought up in a household where the father is absent. So their own masculine role model is emotionally, he's physically, his attention is absent. So a lot of the ways that men are shown to be a man is from a woman. And then when it comes to them being a masculine, strong leader in the relationships in their life, they haven't got that modeling. And then what comes through that then is nice guy tendencies. And I think first and foremost, we did do an episode on the podcast about nice guy with Robert Glover, who wrote the book. But at the same time, I think what we want to do is we want to really look at, like, get into the depths of nice guy in today's podcast, because I think this is going to help you, especially if you're looking to work on your masculinity, especially if you're trying to be the best leader you can possibly be. Because when you spot these traits, two things happen. You lead from a much more grounded place. And the second thing is your relationships vastly improve. Your sex life improves, your leadership of your partner improves, your leadership of yourself improves. And I think, you know, when I first got given the book of No More Mr. Nice Guy, the first thing I thought is, I'm not a nice guy. That was my first. I don't know about you guys. Like, the first thing I thought was, and there's no way I'm a nice guy. And I think when I first read the book, I read it from a place of like, I'm not this person. I'm reading this book to study other guys that might be like this. And I was like, holy shit, I'm a nice guy.
Well, look, what is a nice guy? A nice guy is someone that avoids conflict and is someone that is trying to please everyone. And you might think to yourself, oh, I don't avoid conflict. And you know, we were actually having this discussion this morning actually about myself, like, where am I avoiding conflict? And there's a massive part within my in my ex relationship where I am avoiding conflict, and I hadn't seen it until, like, you know, mirror shone up. Like, fucking hell, actually, that is an area where I'm still working on, because I'm avoiding conflict in that area because I don't want to rock the boat, because currently it's easy.
Yeah, and I think that what a nice guy's model of the world is that if I might make everyone else happy, if I serve and please everyone else, I will be liked, I will get my needs met, and my partner will have sex with me. And it happens in gay and straight relationships. You know, it's not about just being, you know, men and women. It's also about the masculine and the feminine. And what I noticed is that, especially with the covert contracts thing. So what happens with nice guys is they make covert contracts. They make small contracts where they say, if I do this thing for you, then you will do this thing for me, and we're not going to talk about it. And I didn't realize that was going on for me. But then I started to look at some of the behaviors in my relationships, and I was like, oh, wow, I actually had a lot of these covert contracts. And I didn't just have it in my intimate relationships. I had it with my staff as well in business. And I was like, And it was all, it does tie in with expectations versus agreements. There was never an overt agreement between me and my staff to behave in a certain way, yet I expected it. And I would go and, go out my way to please my staff and to make them feel happy and all that sort of stuff yet I thought that they would do that back, or I would get something back for that. And I was always disappointed when that didn't happen. And so for me, a lot of those covert contracts were coming up in the way that I was trying to please other people, expecting them to behave like in that way to me. And a lot of nice guys will have a covert contract. For example, here's like a really, really simple one. If I do the dishes, if I tidy the house, if I make your life really easy, you'll have sex with me at the end of the day.
Yeah.
And a lot of guys, that's the way that they live. And this is where the whole happy wife, happy life comes in. And when I noticed that these were subtle parts which were eroding my leadership in my relationships, I was like, right, let's get to work.
Yeah, because a covert contract is a contract that you make up internally. The other person or the other people, they don't know this contract has been set.
Yeah. It's, for example, I'm going to take you out on a nice dinner at Valentine's Day, and at the end of Valentine's Day, we're going to have sex.
Yeah.
And we've never spoken about it, but that's just a pure assumption. It's that I'm going to bring gifts home all the time. And I'm going to, you seen mentioned that this morning. It was like, what did you say? Do you track your good deeds?
Yes.
And I've never heard that actually. I was like, do you track your good deeds with your partner? And I was like, it's a bit like point scoring. So what I do is I keep this mental bank account of all the good things that I've done for my partner. And then when we enter into conflict, I bring out my list.
Yeah.
Just like, yeah. I was like, oh no.
Yeah, well, I done the dishes and I cleaned up and I did all the bins and I took you out for food last week and I bought you flowers. Why aren't you having sex with me?
Yeah. And when you said that, actually, I realized I was like, my first thing was like, no, I don't do that. But then I just replayed a recent argument in a bit of conflict in my head. And even if I'm not saying that, I'm thinking that. It's like, God, I've done all of this stuff and then you won't do this one thing.
Yeah.
And it's, I think the thing that came up for me then was like, you're not on the same team if you're scoring points against each other. And I think that's what's been a struggle for me in the past in a lot of my relationships. I was continually trying to like rack up points. So then when we did actually get into conflict, I had loads of ammo. And so I think that, with nice guy behavior, the reason it can thwart your leadership so much is because you are constantly in this state of trying to like get one up on the people around you. So ultimately you might win the argument, but you lose the relationship.